The first book I ever produced, some 50 years ago, was a collection of poetry written by children. I called it Children's Words. There are poems in there by the young Daniel Day-Lewis and Montague Don, among others, and another by one Samuel Taylor Coleridge. I was a young teacher trying all I could to help children find their voices. It was at a time when teachers were not so confined to and driven by a narrow curriculum, the children not so taught to the exam, not so force-fed. So teachers like me could all have more time and space to explore ideas, discover worlds, write our poetry, tell our tales, sing our songs, paint our pictures, make and act our plays. It was a good time to teach. The work they were producing was extraordinary. I was already beginning to realize just how immense the potential and talent of these young people was. I should have known. I had children of my own. What had not occurred to me so much then, but has become much more apparent to me now, and to all of us, I suspect, and has been one of the great and important benefits of social media, is the power of young people to change lives, change the world and how we see it. Patronize if you dare. The determination and courage of the young to take on the adult world, its hypocrisy, its greed, its idiocies, its hubris, its self-delusion, its ignorance, its absurd preconceptions and prejudices, to bravely go where no one has gone before, has taken most of us by surprise. Some of us might not have thought that young people had it in them. Some of us did not think they were old enough. Some of us did not think they would understand such things. And some did not think they had a right to stand up for their beliefs, to say and write what they feel, to do what they think is right, and what should be put right. It wasn't long ago that there were some who thought of women that way. That's worth remembering. Worth remembering too is the contribution millions of children today are making the world over towards the lives of others, towards this good earth, towards human rights, towards peace and reconciliation. Let me mention just 3 of the millions who have made us sit up and think and change, who are telling us straight how it is, who are pricking our consciences and showing us a new way forward, a better way. In Pakistan, some 10 years ago now, Malala Yousafzai, a young schoolgirl of 11, was speaking out for the rights of all girls to be educated, and educated well. In full knowledge of how some in Pakistan might object to this, the Taliban in particular, and others, and understanding fully what risks she was taking, she went on speaking out. Her blogs for the BBC became well known. And the Taliban came for her, to silence her. They shot her in the school bus on her way home. The assassination attempt backfired. After long months in hospital with all the world looking on, through social media, all of us, young or old, wishing her well again, the doctors worked miracles and Malala recovered. And once recovered, she simply went on where she had left off, flying the flag for the rights of girls the world over to be educated. And by then, of course, the world was listening, applauding. She spoke at the United Nations. They have their Declaration of Human Rights, but standing there before them was a young girl from Pakistan who had nearly lost her life for those rights. She received the Nobel. Greta has just sailed across the Atlantic to bring her message to the US. She does not lack courage. Atlantic storms or President Donald Trump, she faces them down in her own manner, quietly, firmly, politely. The other day she was protesting outside the White House. She is championing a great cause to end climate change before it is too late, now, because it is an outrageous injustice to the planet and a cruel injustice to future generations. This is a cause the young all over the world have taken to their hearts, and quite a few million old folk like me. We could not wish for a better champion. And now to a hidden injustice I knew little or nothing of until I met a young boy called Jonathan Bryan. He was 10 when I met him. He has suffered from severe cerebral palsy all his life. He has locked-in syndrome. He is entirely reliant on his family and his carers, and on 24-hour medical support, life support effectively. He hears, he sees, he feels, he smiles. But he has no ability to speak at all, so cannot communicate. Well, that's what people often think about such children, and why people often give up on such children. His mother and his family thought otherwise. For a while Jonathan simply existed. He would lie there in a room, the television on, with other children similarly afflicted. His mother knew there was a child in there longing to communicate. That Jonathan had a spirit, a mind, a personality, and that he was longing to express himself. Between his mother and his family and his carers and Jonathan, they found a key to unlock this locked-in boy. Jonathan could blink, he could move his eyes. He learned to spell out words, blinking at letters on the board his carer held out in front of him. Looking on, his mother spoke his words. It took years of practice to make the words make sentences, make conversation, make writing, make poetry, make a book, his first book, I Can Write. And can he write? And can he speak? I should say so. I've known him for 4 years now. When I first met him I did not know what to say. I knew he was a poet. All I could manage was a rather awkward, "It's good to meet a young writer." And he replied slowly, in his own blinking way, "And it's good to meet an old writer."